thanks to everyone who supported us over at Patreon. We appreciate every single one of you. If you want additional episodes a month, go back for just $1 a month over at patreon.com/boardsandSwords. Watch very closely now. 3, 2, 1. Bzow! Check that out.
We want the fun. Gotta have that fun.
Is it okay if it's okay if like when the bread touches the fries?
Do I really want to just stand still and cast a lightning bolt? No, I want to avoid you and shove a lightning bolt at Grace.
I just crapped my alien pants. By the way, I just want to let you guys know.
You hate all of us, and we're fired.
I've released poison into the AC system. You all have about 5 minutes left to live.
So much news, like all this stuff to talk about.
No, there's been some stuff, but it was all boring.
You didn't go with C!
Well, you need to go with C!
And our friends, we combined...
You've told that story.
We combined... Have I told it on the podcast?
I'm pretty sure
you
told
have.
it.
Well, I'm telling it again.
Because I just realized as I was reading this that this game's already been done. They even made a show about it. It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! And go watch it.
This is Boards and Swords.
Welcome, everyone, to Boards and Swords. I'm Chris Renshaw. I'm one of your hosts. This is a podcast where we're having fun talking about board games. We got bad jokes, good folks, and all kinds of gaming here. And I'm just not alone here. I mixed up that intro a little bit, but celebrating the 4th of July with me on the internets here is Mr. Philip Herbig.
Woo woo! Fireworks, America! America! Yeah!
Yeah, it's funny now because it used to be when we had our intro, it was just audio. And so you could see me on the camera just kind of like bobbing my head. But now there's a video intro as well. So now I feel like I can get even crazier back here, just like really going at it because nobody can see me.
Is that you're not gonna start doing that like cliche thing, are you?
What cliche thing?
Yeah, like all of a sudden the camera's back on you and you're still doing something. You're like, oh hey, sorry, I didn't see you there, guys.
Maybe. Probably
Damn
not.
it! Now I gave him ideas.
No, because the way that's just something I have to edit out for the audio show.
That's right. That's right.
So, I'm pretty sure the hot dogs are burning, so we can just jump straight into some news. All right. So, first up, we got a bunch of different stories here for you. But if I cheat on one card game with another, does that make me a TCG player? And you'll get that joke in just a second because this article is talking about TCGplayer.com. Headline being TCG Player raises another $35 million. This is from so TCGplayer.com is a website. It's a marketplace where you can go and like buy and sell just about any collectible card game. Like, obviously the big ones right now being like Magic and Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, that sort of thing. But you could look on that site and, we're going to talk about Warhammer some. They got the Warhammer Champions card game that's on there. They got even like all the Decipher stuff from like Star Wars. There's all kinds of stuff in there. But they've obtained $35 million in financing from Visa Credit Partners, the credit investing arm of Vista Credit Partners, the credit investing arm of Vista Equity Partners. The financing will be used to support growth and expansion into additional verticals, including sports cards and comics, according to the announcement. So is that going to be like TCGCSC player?
Getting too many.
Yeah.
Then they'll have to shorten it
to
the .co.
Yeah. Back in 2018, they raised $10 million in equity, and so now they're getting an additional $35 million in free money. So we've been maintaining triple-digit growth for the last 12 months. I wonder why that is. I don't think this is any way related to the fact that, like, Walmart had to remove Magic cards off their or Pokemon cards off their shelf because people were buying them up and reselling them.
Yeah.
Gee, I can't imagine why a popular reseller is having triple-digit growth. They've grown. They have 450 employees.
That's pretty good.
That's yeah, but like $35 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of tacos for Taco Tuesday.
That is. You could possibly expand tacos into other days with that much money.
Yeah. TCG players at a business at an inflection point. The credit partner said, having successfully capitalized on increased collector demand, the company is now poised for rapid expansion as it continues to build a deep vertical connective tissue, joining hobbyists, retailers, and publishers. Now that is true. One of the things that they do offer with with TCG Player is you can make a shop. I mean, it's basically like eBay, like the website is just the framework. And, you can you could start a business where you're just selling on TCG Player. You create your own store, and then they get a small portion of the money that you make, and then you get the rest or whatever. I have used it because it's also got a great, if you have any of these card games, they've also got a great framework for keeping track of your collection. You could just type in what card and then what version of it. Is it first edition Charizard or is, from the latest set Charizard or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And you can keep track. And then, you can look at your all collection and be like, oh, wow, my collection's worth $10 or my collection's worth $10,000. Because it'll keep, the average price of what each card in your collection is worth or what has been selling for.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, I'm just more interested in the new chief officer position, that a chief people officer.
Where do you see that at?
The second paragraph.
Oh, a chief people officer.
Yeah, that's a new one I've never heard of before.
It makes sense because companies are trying to be more responsible socially. So that could be chief people officer. That could be. I could see that being a couple of things. That could be your social media.
I googled it.
Uh-huh.
It's in charge of managing the strategy and processes related to building and maintaining an exceptional team of professionals.
It's your human relations. It's your HR department.
Yeah, it's like
that was going to be my other thing.
They gave HR a new title?
I mean, why not? It just shows that you care that much. I mean, it makes it seem like that is an important role, versus it just being a part of the company. Then it just a section we filed away. It's in the basement kind of thing. That no, this is a person at the table with the.
Well, I mean, hang on. Depends on how nice the basement is.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be the same thing as saying vice president of human relations, probably, right? I mean, that's fundamentally the same title.
I'm a people person.
I'm good with people. Why can't you people see that? Moving on. So I knew someone that make fake kitchen surfaces. However, he quickly got caught and charged with counterfeiting. So Asmodee and Amazon are going to be suing game counterfeiters for I can't read. They've jointly filed suit against Samuel Katz, doing business as Crazy Leaf, and Gig Trading Incorporated, alleging that the third-party sellers on Amazon, they sold counterfeit versions of two older expansions to Dixit Daydreams and Revelations. So,
Chris, I found a new button we need for the soundboard.
What's that?
Allegedly.
Oh, yeah. Allegedly. I mean, we started that all the way back in the Relative Dimensions days. Remember
we
that?
did. We need royalties from Letterkenny.
Yeah, okay.
That'll happen.
Our two fans from that time will be our character witnesses.
I mean, we could just get paid in a small 10-second walk-on roll and then we're done. I'm fine with that.
Just waving in the background.
Exactly. Being one of the guys that Wayne gets to fight and knocks me out. I'm cool with that.
I have a feeling I'd be like a skid instead.
All right, you be a skid, I'll be a hick. It'll be great.
Yeah. So the counterfeit Dixit Revelations being sold by the defendants were actually being fulfilled by. So this is the classic story of, you bought it on Amazon, it was being fulfilled by somebody else, but then you get it and realize it was counterfeit. So apparently there was, and this is something, there's been a lot more crackdown recently trying to figure out, bust up counterfeiting in board games, because apparently it's a big deal. Like Amazon established a counterfeit crimes unit last year. Law and Order Counterfeit Crimes Unit. Dun dun. So let's see. I was seeing something. There was I don't know if it's in the article I have linked, but I heard somebody else talking about this, where apparently in this process, like Asmodee did a test purchase from this dealer.
It's right there.
Okay,
they,
so it is
they
there.
Place a test order on
December 16th. Yeah. So they're like, we've been getting reports this is bad, so we're just going to buy something. Yep, this is bad. So hey, Amazon, this guy is not good. And Amazon's like, banhammer coming down. So I imagine this is just the filing, so that the filing suit. So I imagine this will probably be a lot more of this incoming in probably the next year. This will probably be one of those that takes like a year or two,
if not more.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they'll be like, well, just this one time though.
Yeah.
So next up, I was working on some documents at work, and someone went in behind my back and shrunk a bunch of letters and words in the middle of my sentences. So I had to cancel a lot of subscriptions. Sorry, I had to actually see it. All right, next, the reason I said that is Gabe's Workshop unveils Warhammer Plus, a digital subscription service from Games Workshop. Now, when I originally heard the idea behind this, I was like, really? Do we need, for someone that doesn't know anything about, or didn't know a whole lot about Games Workshop stuff, I was like, do we need this? But so this is like they are pumping out the content planned for this. So
oh god, go ahead. I'll get to the sentence in a second. Go ahead. I just had this horrible moment.
Warhammer Plus will have an array of content that includes weekly hobby shows. So that's probably stuff like what they're already doing on like streaming it on like Twitch and YouTube and stuff. Warhammer animation. So they're going to be making their own animated shows based in the Warhammer universe, which is just so full of lore. It's asking for stuff to be made.
It definitely. I mean, there's going to be content for like decades.
Yeah. And full access to the Warhammer app. So there was a 40K app, and they're coming out with an Age of Sigmar app for the fantasy. And it used to be you did have to pay subscriptions for those, but it was like $2.99 a month or something like that. And it was just basically digital access. It was like the D&D Beyond, but for Warhammer, where it was just here's all of our official rules, and you get it for, I think if you buy a book, you get the code to put it in the Warhammer app so that you've unlocked that codex now in the app.
There you go, yeah.
But now these apps are going to be a part of that subscription. You're also going to have digital versions of Warhammer publications and White Dwarf issues. And best part, probably worth the price of the subscription on its own, is subscribers will receive exclusive offers as well as a free miniature every year. So, and you can choose what model you get based on what line of stuff is your favorite. So there's a did they say there's basically a one for Warhammer 40K and one for Age of Sigmar. So the service is going to run $4.99 a month or $5.99 a month or $59.99 a year. And that's where I was saying, like, that miniature alone could probably be worth like $30 to $40 of that.
Oh yeah,
that money.
Definitely.
The only downside is that you have to wait the year, so they don't send you the mini until your 12th month.
Your renewal date.
Yeah. So
I mean, makes sense.
Yeah. So go ahead and pay in advance, and then you don't have to worry about it.
There you go. Yeah. When they talked about their recently released line of figures, I saw Canadian shock troopers.
Oi, hey there! I'm going to hit you with my bolter, eh?
I mean, I just.
Oh, sorry, I got hit there.
breezed right over the word. It was like Canadian shock troopers. What the hell? What?
Come on,
Earth
everyone, we gotta
existing
get in the
Warhammer?
boat. We gotta get in the boat.
We got to go through the rift.
Yeah, this. I may have to be subscribing to this.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Warhammer Plus. If they come out with some cool shows, that'll be kind of cool to see.
Yeah, this is going to live and die on how is that app, because I've heard the 40K apps. The 40K app is garbage, from what I heard. At least if you look at the Google Play review thing, it's just like 1.2. Yeah. So, I mean, there's some cool stuff in here that, assuming if everything's good, it's going to be a good value. And I know I've talked with a couple of Warhammer people, and they're excited just on the stuff that's like the existing stuff, not even looking into like the animated stuff. That's going to be well, we'll see when we get it, because who knows what the animation quality is going to be like. I don't know. I haven't clicked through to see what studios are involved in this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Rusty Beetle says everyone uses Battlescribe instead, which I've had enough people tell me about how terrible Battlescribe is, but it's an app that that almost every miniatures game can. It's a list building app for, like an army building app for just about any miniatures game you can pull up. But but because it's not officially supported, the way that Battlescribe gets the info, it's just based on somebody wrote an XML file that's got all the stats and details in it, and you're just praying that guy's interpretation is 100% right.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I've had people that be like, because I'm jumping in a sec. I played 40K last night, and I was like, it says that it works for here, and the guy's like, I'm pretty sure that's not how that goes, and he'd pull up the official app. And be like, nope, that's supposed to be 12 inches instead of 6 or something like that. So
that's what never mind.
That's what he said.
Oh.
So, all right, we'll circle back to this. So this guy I know was excited about the newest FFG card game, so he went and bought a bunch of medieval outfits for women. I was confused, so I asked him why, and he said it was because he heard he needed to have multiple corsets.
Got him!
And I mean, this is your weekly FFG news of the week. Arkham Horror, weekly news of the week. So chat is not up on Hoser 40K. Chat is not up on the screen because right now it's covered by this, but it will be in a sec when I get back to it. But Arkham Horror, the card game, is getting a new revised core set.
All right, woohoo! Yay!
So like this is actually a box that I'm only slightly tempted to get. So a lot of people were worried this was going to be like a second edition or something. Nope, this game is 100% everything the same. The game is completely identical. What they've done here is they've given you enough cards so that you can just buy one copy of the core set instead of having to buy multiple, like the joke I made. So going the Marvel Champions route, which, by the way, it looks like the size of a Marvel Champions box, so I would estimate this is probably going to be $60. So it's also got like some dividers and better organization as far as how the cards are laid out in the box, is what they say, and like a new lead investigator token. But it has all the original investigators, but they all have like alternate art on them, and that's the piece where it's like, that's kind of tempting.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same stats, same abilities, but it's a different artwork. Maybe I can get, because I have like 4 copies of the original investigators. Maybe I could just trade somebody.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Hey, you want the original ones? You can't even get these anymore.
But, I mean, if you're going to do that, we got to get you a trench coat, and you got to do it real shady-like in an alley.
You bring the stuff? I got the stuff.
Stuff? You got the money?
So, yeah, they've been making some pretty cool pretty cool moves with Arkham Horror recently, so that makes me excited. A, that it's, probably going to be going for a long period of time now. And B, it just makes it more beginner friendly for new people to get into the game, because you don't need to buy. You just buy this one box. It's got most everything you need. I'm hoping the next thing they do is, last time we talked, or maybe it was 2 times ago, we talked about them combining the stories into one box instead of having the packs.
Yeah.
Kind of hoping the next step is they go back and redo that for all the previous expansions, because there's a lot of
update the artwork and all that kind of jazz.
Well, they don't even need to update the artwork. Just selling the entire campaign as a single box instead of the individual packs, because they've had problems where they can't get, or like the reprint, and somebody can't get like specific packs. So now they only need to reprint like one box instead of like one box and 6 packs.
It's the route of the comic books.
Yeah.
You sell the individual monthly issues first, and then you get the trade paperback.
Exactly. You milk that money out of the people following you month to month that got to have it.
Yeah.
And then for everybody else that's late to the game, you give them one nice little entry point. All right, and last up for news, we briefly mentioned cards, but I wanted my Pokemon cards to be worth more money, so I burned a couple of them. Now they're charred Izards. I think that my bad joke game is on point today, more so than it has been a while, because I thought those were all excellent.
Excellent bad jokes.
Exactly. So fans can now join Pokemon's anniversary with the Celebrations range. So they're actually going to be reprinting the base set Charizard that like everybody's going nutso about.
Ah.
So Pokemon trading card game Celebrations will be releasing this October, celebrating 25 years of Pokemon. The Pokemon Celebrations booster packs will feature characters, popular art, and various mechanics from across the game's vast history. The Celebrations features characters from each of the regions within the Pokemon universe. It's going to have 4 foil cards, each with the 25th anniversary logo. It will also include a special subset of cards that are remakes of classic cards from the game's history, including the base set Charizard. And this will start rolling out October 8th. This is, so not too long ago, it was, 5 years ago that they were celebrating their 20th anniversary. And so they were doing they had a set then, it was like Pokemon Generations. So this is the same thing, just 5 years later. And now everyone's hyped up about that dang Charizard card, so they're going to put it in there.
What about the base set Machamp?
I don't know. You just only hear about Charizard.
Yeah, like base set Machamp was the card I remember because he was a foil.
Right. I'm scrolling down to see, wonder what. Yeah, the Pokemon TCG Celebrations Elite Trainer box, which is like the Fat Pack box if you're into Magic, will retail for $49.99, and I bet you stores will probably sell it for like $90 because somebody will buy it.
Gotta make that money.
So yeah, going back to our previous, so Hoser 40K is mentioning in the chat that he likes the Arkham method a lot better because he has only the first and the last cycle pack for Innsmouth, and he can't find the 4 in between. Just because they've been dramatically underprinting things. Because better to sell out than to have excess stock.
Yeah.
I'm like skimming down to see if they mentioned the Machamp. Oh man, there's even a lunch. Oh, there's a lunchbox. I might have to get the lunchbox.
Yeah.
Because, just set it up.
$25. That's good.
Just set it up back over here. I have one of the other lunchbox things, the Detective Pikachu lunchbox. I should put that up behind here.
Excuse me, sir. It's not a lunchbox. It's a collector chest.
Oh, excuse me.
Gosh, such a noob.
All right, before I go diving into a bunch of what I've been up to, what have you been up to, Philip?
Oh, metal cards. Sorry, I was reading the one above that, the metal base set Charizard and Pikachu.
Oh.
And a gold version of Pikachu V. Is it like Johnny 5?
V. It's like the powered up version of the card.
Oh.
So like when they would do like, trying to think of, it's hard to explain. It's just a powered up version of the card.
Nope, I like Pikachu 5 better. He's got tank treads and a laser.
Pikachu 5 is alive.
Pikachu. So what have I been doing? I've been playing Destiny.
More Destiny.
Obviously. Gosh. Played we decided to take a break from Destiny, and we picked up the discounted Earth Defense Force.
Ooh.
That's a
anime,
decently fun
right?
game. It's it's very anime inspired game. The elite female fighting force all have very high level armor, which means it doesn't cover a lot.
Of course.
That's how you know it's good high level armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we just played around with that for a little while. God, that was only last night. Yeah, that was pretty fun. I watched The Tomorrow War.
Did you?
When that came out on the 2nd.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I heard you talking about it. I heard you talking about Facebook, but I could have swore we talked about it in the bonus bits last time. But I think that was you were talking about that other was it like Immortal or Eternal or something like that?
Oh yeah,
Infinite.
No, Infinite. Yeah, Infinite.
Yeah. Okay, so I got the sci-fi movies mixed up.
Woo! The Tomorrow War, dude, that is such a good movie. Everyone who has Amazon Prime, like, take 2 hours of your day and watch The Tomorrow War, because that is such a good movie.
I still need to see Invincible.
Invincible or Infinite?
The Invincible, the Amazon comic book show or comic book cartoon thing that's based off of the.
Oh, okay, yeah. With the with J. Jonah Jameson as the voice of the main character.
Yep.
Yeah.
And dude who played, I'm having a brain fart. He was in The Walking Dead, which was also by Robert Kirkman.
I was gonna say, anyone who hadn't been in The Walking Dead?
What was it? I gotta watch. It's like Stephen Young or something, or Young.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm trying to remember what the dude's name was. I like spacing
what the character's
out.
name? Yeah.
I'm spacing out here, trying to find.
Oh, I just remember the the producer of the show being on, the guy who used to run the after show for Walking Dead, but then he also did that show at midnight,
Glenn.
the like weird trivia
That's
show.
What it was. Stephen Young.
Glenn, yeah.
Yeah, Glenn.
And he also did that trivia show at midnight.
Oh yeah.
And then he was like, "Hey, give us a spoiler that no one's gonna think is true." And he's like, "Glenn gets beat to death by a baseball bat." And everyone's like, "Yeah, no, of course it happened in the comic, but you're not gonna do that to Glenn." Oh, you did that to Glenn. Oh, damn, dude. I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, there's been a lot of because it's getting to that time of the month of like that time of the year, and by that time of the year I mean it's like a day that ends in Y that like Steam sales are going on, because I think we're getting to like the Steam summer sale. Asmodee just had a bunch of sales on a bunch of their apps.
Oh, I haven't paid attention. PlayStation Store might have something on sale too.
Maybe. Did you see the Railroad Inc. app came out?
I did. You told me about that.
Yeah.
I have to.
I still have to redeem. So because I backed it. I specifically added like money onto the Kickstarter to make sure I got the app through the Kickstarter, but it was for the Steam code, so I had to make sure I also get it through the Google Play Store, because that's probably where I'll end up playing it the most. But sadly, I've not opened it yet.
Yeah.
I should. I just haven't. I just haven't gamed a lot on my phone recently. So, all right.
Oh, Pinball FX3. That's what Rusted Beetle picked up.
Ah. I'm assuming it's a pin. Oh, man. Please tell me it's like that Windows 95 pinball game.
Yes.
Wasn't that the greatest game ever?
Oh, that was so much fun.
It was like space pinball something.
Yes, and like you could change the color of the table, and like if you bump the table too many times, it would yell at you and like freeze and lock up.
Space Cadet 3D pinball. Yes.
Yes.
I just pulled it up like a picture right when Rusty Beetle put it in the chat. Yeah, that was. I have spent a lot of time on that. That's how I learned what tilting was.
Yeah.
That like I didn't know that was a thing in pinball
real life,
in actual pinball games. I was just like, oh, I can bump the table. Ooh, I'm gonna keep bump. Oh, what do you mean everything's jacked up now?
Yeah, that was fun times, man.
I'm making sure it says everything I learned in life I've learned from 3D or Space Cadet 3D pinball. So I was thinking about random tangent. I was thinking about because I've been thinking about like making a bumper sticker for Boards and Swords, but like I want to put something on it that it's not like there's several things I could put on it, but I need something that like not everyone's gonna get, but maybe enough people are gonna get. Like if I put something Arkham on it, there's gonna be nobody that gets it. You know, maybe like one person. But I was thinking something along the lines of, if you know what 46 plus 1 is, then we should hang out, or something like that. Because I feel like there's enough people that would at least get that kind of a reference, like to dice. Because across many types of gaming, that might be a little bit better, more recognizable.
Definitely, I can see that. Yeah.
Oh man. So I have a lot of game stuff.
I see that, man.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'm gonna get through all of this. I may have to save some of it. I will say just a good. I played one of the new Exit games, Cemetery of the Night. It's on the YouTube channel. You should go check it out. Also, I've got there's a couple Marvel Champions videos up on YouTube, a playthrough. I just finished recording yesterday. Me doing a solo playthrough of Kang the Conqueror with a custom Iron Man deck, because I've been doing all these heroes versus the Rhino, so I was like, I should throw something else in there so it's not just nothing but Rhino playthroughs. So I mixed it up playing against the Kang specifically because Kang might be in the Loki series, might be, and it's all the Kang deck is all about like time travel-y stuff, so. With that being and Loki on the brain, I decided to give that a whirl. But so we had a couple of I've had a bunch of game days recently. It's gotten to the point where I've gotten like enough. It's getting too hot to do yard work. So the weekends I can actually do some gaming stuff. But do you remember? Was it last episode or the episode before? I got that new Vampire the Masquerade Rivals game in.
I think it was the episode before.
Okay, so I got the chance to break it out, but I'm going to disclaimer this with I have not played the game yet. And what I mean by that is I brought it to like our LCG kind of game night or game day thing, but there were 5 of us, and the game only goes up to 4.
Okay.
So knowing it was going to be complicated, I was like, you know what? I want to get this tested. I just want to get this tried out, and like a run through, and we'll see how it goes. I'll be the rule book and y'all can play.
All right.
So like I'll like make sure explaining the game and doing all that. I will say right up. So this isn't a full review because like I said, I have not played the game. This is kind of like my initial impressions of watching it played. First off, I will say that this game was a bear to teach. It is complicated. So this is not like your easygoing Keyforge kind of quick play sort of game. This is definitely if you want a more meaty kind of custom card game. Think like Netrunner on that style of like Lingo and that sort of thing.
Okay.
This is going to be your jam. And specifically, like, it took us an hour for me to just explain the game, and I could see. And these are people who have like played Netrunner and like played Netrunner a lot, and their eyes were glazing over, and my eyes were glazing over when I tried to watch the Renegade How to Play, because it was just like, there's a lot going on here. So I was just kind of reading out the rule book. Having seen it, I could probably teach it better the second time if I had to teach it to somebody else, because I could probably reword it and cut through all the chaff. But the basics of how it plays is you make a faction. So there's right now there are 4 factions in the game. There's already going to be 2 expansions. Each one adds like 2 new factions. So there's all these factions of vampires waging war in San Francisco. And so in the middle of the table, there's a city deck representing San Francisco, and it has like basically a bunch of victims. So it's a bunch of event cards that can trigger for everybody that affect the game. It's a bunch of what they have mortals that you can attack to like power up your vampires, and then there's a bunch of Inquisition, Second Inquisition guys, like the humans trying to know that. So vampires messed up and made humans aware accidentally, like the governments. So now there's like Black Ops. Unknown to the most of humanity, but there's like Black Ops teams trying to take out the vampires. So there are like Second Inquisition people in the deck that are going to, if they're out on the board, they will attack all your vampires. So each person gets a deck of cards, and they have a deck of vampires. So they have like 7 vampires, and they have like a deck of event cards and resources and stuff. And basically you go around, you're trying to get... So there's different ways to win. So the first way you win is if you get like enough agenda points, meaning you've advanced your agenda enough. So like 13, I think is what it is. But the other thing is it's called Vampire Rivals. So when you start the game, every person will get a number. So like your player 1, your player 2, all to 4. And then you take these tokens and shuffle them up and hand them out to everybody. And the number that you pick, that's your rival for that game. So this helps the kind of, because somebody mentioned, well, in a 4-player competitive game, how do you keep from like people ganging up on one person kind of thing? And this is why, because the way you win the game, other than getting the agenda points, is you have to be the one to take out your rival. That's the only way you win the game. If somebody else takes them out, no go.
Okay.
So you have to be the one to knock them out, and you knock them out by basically getting rid of all their vampires or draining all their resources out. So, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, but there's various ways you can attack the other vampires. You can like scheme. This is some of the coolest aspects of it, is there's these like conspiracy cards. So this adds like a little bit of social manipulation into the game, where you play this conspiracy card, and it's face down, and you can add points to it to advance it, but you can also show it to other people at the table, and whoever you show it to, and only the people you show it to, can advance it with their resources as well. And if they do so, they are protected from that card going off.
Oh.
So it'll be like, hey, Philip, you wanna work with me on this? Because Jimmy and Corey over there are like really on top of things, and we should probably knock them down a peg.
Oh, come on, man! You missed the opportunity there.
What?
From TikTok. Do you want to form an alliance?
Oh man, I feel like I need to clip that out now. Like the actual clip.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. There was definitely some negotiation stuff, because there's the other thing is there can be negotiation, like other vampires can block against attacks. So you could, people could be like, hey, I'll block this attack for you, but you're going to promise not to attack me the X number of rounds or something. Or, there's like certain things you can't give. Like, there's only certain, like, you can't give cards or the resources or stuff like that. But there are other promises, and you have to, once you make a promise, you have to abide by it. So
okay.
You can't like say, yeah, I want to attack you, and then your turn comes around and be like, gotcha. No, you have to you have to keep your word once you make a promise.
Gotcha.
But again, as someone that just watched the game, I am very intrigued by this. Specifically, like I said, the 3 to 4 player game, you could definitely see how it plays. And I need to try this because I have a feeling there's a couple of different people I think that would really get a kick out of this game, specifically some of that kind of social and political scheming. So, and then we got to last night.
Dun, dun, dun.
Actually, no, we didn't. We didn't get to last night. So, so I mentioned before, again, not sure which episode it was, that I was looking into getting into a minis game. At the time, I was thinking about Age of Sigmar because they had their new edition, but basically the local. So the other thing is I wanted to make sure I get a game that people are playing. Because I'm tired of buying into games and then, like before I got everybody into Arkham, nobody else was playing Arkham. So it just like sat for like 3 years.
Right.
Never getting played. So I wanted to make sure I was playing a game that other people were playing. But the Warhammer Age of Sigmar group, the open play at our local store, is on Mondays. Mondays are when we play Arkham. So it's like, I really don't want to, not play Arkham or just any board game in particular to go play sacrifice that to go play Age of Sigmar. Plus I watched a game and it was kind of like, yeah, okay, it's not as different than 40K. Plus I do like the 40K style better, and the 40K people play on Saturdays, which is raid night, but I could alternate. Just like one night I'll go to raid, one night I'll go to play. So I bought into 40K. Specifically, I bought, so on like Wednesday, I bought the core rulebook because I was like, I know a tiny bit of the lore, but I don't know enough about the factions. So like, I'm not going to buy. Also, I didn't want to spend $200 on the big Indomitus box. They get you the core rules and 2 armies. So I was like, I'm going to buy just the rules. That way I can learn about all the different factions. I can kind of see, okay, who am I wanting to play? And then I could kind of maybe slowly over time start building up an army. And I was reading through this, and I was like, there was one group that was like, oh, I'd be really curious to try Grey Knights. Because the way the Grey Knights are is, like there's all the Space Marine legions, right? Well, the Grey Knights are they're basically they are the demon hunters. So like while Space Marines just kind of, they kill anything that's not human for the most part. The Grey Knights are specifically designed. They're specifically tasked with killing like the chaos demons, like all the legions of chaos there are. They're not as much cared about the other alien races. They really just want to kill chaos demons. So one thing is they're like highly trained psychics because they have like mental barriers that protect them from because the chaos demons are from the warp, so they have a lot of psychic abilities and drive people crazy. And so they have like they have like hyper-tuned psychic defenses, and that it just seemed really cool. So I posted in one of the groups and was like, hey, does anybody have a Grey Knights army that I could try out on Saturday when they play? And somebody's like, yeah, I'll throw you a list together. So I played it was a 1,000-point game. So I was 1,000 points, me with Grey Knights, and 1,000 points. They were the other guy was playing the Sisters of Battle, or the Adept. So the Space Marines are the Adeptus Asares, and I was playing the Adepta Sororitas, so they are basically female Space Marines.
Gotcha.
Which is cool as hell, first of all, because like for the long as like Space Marines can only be dudes, and these aren't like full-fledged Space Marines, but they're still like warrior women in power armor. They're like the only other faction allowed to wear power. There's like this group and one other group are the only people besides Space Marines allowed to wear power armor.
All right.
But they're basically like nuns in the sense that they're holy. They're more about the religion aspect of the game. So that's all about like faith and that sort of thing. But in this case, being faith to the emperor.
Yeah.
So like they got bonus. There was like a holy statue on the table, and they got bonuses as long as somebody was near it. But oh man, I loved this faction that I played. It was so cool. Like, you know, from being my first game and for being a learning game, like I pulled some moves out that they were like, oh wow, yeah, you could totally. So, I put out. So I line up all my dudes. What we're playing is we're playing a game where, because in 9th edition 40K, it's all about objectives. That's how you win the game. Okay. So you get points for holding like objective spots on the board, and you also get points for like killing the other person's like warlord, or just killing a unit will get you points. But the main way we were getting points in this game was holding these 5 control points. We each had 2 on our side, and there was 1 in the middle. So like we start off controlling 2, basically each of us, and there's 1 open in the middle of the floor, or the middle of the table. And so I'm lining up all my guys because I've got like some terrain stuff that I'm hiding people under, and then there's like this giant building. And so I hid because I don't, my first game, I don't know necessarily, because I have a list of like all these keywords and numbers, and like I understand most of what the numbers mean, but there's so many keywords I can't keep track. Right. So I'm just gonna hide a bunch of my guys in this big ruin because they're blocked. You can't see them right now, and I knew one or two of the units had a teleport. So I was like, oh, I could just, hold him in here, see where he's going to go, and then teleport to where I want to go. Mm-hmm. So we get to set up and all that. I win the roll off. I get to go first. As I'm reading through the teleport, I realized I misread something. And I thought it was you activate this ability and that unit teleports itself somewhere else. Incorrect. The way it works is if I roll off and succeed, that unit chooses another unit that's nearby and teleports that unit. Ah. So my leader has this ability, and so I had a legion of, like a combat unit of Space Marines hiding out in that building too. So I was like, I'm going to teleport that unit of Space Marines. Where am I going to teleport it to? Hey, there's no enemies in the center of the table, and it says I can teleport it anywhere where there's at least 9 inches away from any other unit. I'm just going to drop them right on that point.
There you go.
And because there was a crater there, so they'd have cover as well. Now, here's the thing. So the way that things work is the order in which things go is there's a movement phase, there's a psychic phase, which is where my teleport skill comes in, and then there's a shooting phase. All right? And my Space Marines have a thing that's like rapid fire, in which if I keep them still, they shoot twice the number of shots, but if they move, they just get like the standard number. And if you charge with them, they don't get you don't get any shooting at all. So reading specifically, it was like, as long as you stayed still in the movement phase, then you get the bonus for your weapon. So I pointed this out to them, and I'm like, so according to this, those units in the middle didn't move, so they get the double damage or the double shots. And he's like, yeah, you're right. So then I get to pick up like 24 dice and roll them.
Yeesh.
So they didn't last long because had I known that when I placed them out, I would have put my 5 Space Marines in Terminator armor nearby so that I could have teleported them in the center. So they're like big, huge mechs. Yeah. Not like the huge mechs, but like as far as like, they're like 4 times the size of a regular Space Marine kind of thing. But like, I would have done that and dropped those in the center, but they held out pretty long. My unit held out for at least like a turn or two as like they get slowly surrounded by like the rest of like by these tanks and stuff.
Eesh.
But it was sweet. It was so much fun. And then luckily earlier that day, so unfortunately, like I've been trying to support the local store and buying stuff there, but I just couldn't pass up that so our comic shop, our local comic shop, opened up into a larger location, and it's now like a Geeks Walmart. I mean, have you been in there yet?
I have not.
Oh my God, it's huge. So have you been to the new Third Eyes up in Annapolis, the newer one since they moved?
No, last time I was up there was with you when we went to games. But that was like years ago when games first opened.
Oh, okay, when the games first opened. Okay. Yeah, so you haven't seen the new one. Yeah, but like it's like the size of some of their Annapolis locations now. Or at least in that realm. It's not exactly the same, but it's still very close. But they had tons of stuff. And because it was their grand opening, they were running discounts on everything. So they had 20% off like all gaming items. And I was like, well, those signs are also on the Warhammer boxes. So I can get like a big, huge. So this is I got a box of Space Marines basically here. So this is a Warhammer Combat Patrol box. And this basically gives me everything I need for a 500-point army, which is basically half the size of what I was playing last night. So, oh, this is awesome. You should see it. Like, these dudes are like, some of these guys are basically like Gundams. Like, they're I'll see if I can put it up on the camera here. But they're like, they got jetpacks and like huge guns. Maybe if I show the front box where you can see them actually.
Oh, yeah, I can kind of see them. Yeah.
Yeah, so it comes with like a tank and, you know, a bunch of like random dudes and then like 3 flying dudes. I'm just calling them flying dudes because I don't know. That says there's a suppressor squad. So I've started putting some of them together. So that'll be, you know, a long time before I get all that stuff painted.
Oh yeah.
And I'm already thinking about like, so for the tank, which is basic, it's not even really a tank. It's like a personnel transport. It's got all these like guns and options it can have on it, and I'm already thinking like maybe I'll just put magnets on these things, and so I can just like swap out the
do some hot swap.
Yeah, do some hot swapping stuff. So I'm already getting ideas. So Rusty Beal says come over tomorrow and play X-Wing. I mean, like I said, tomorrow's Arkham night, but I may have to alternate. See, I got it planned because I started playing. I played X-Wing once I've played X-Wing once since the store started opening stuff back up again. So maybe I'll alternate. Whenever I decide to raid on Saturday nights, I'll go to X-Wing that week and do some minis there. And then when I decide to play Warhammer, I won't go. But yeah, so I was talking with people, like some of them have been to Nova before, and like Adepticon, which I was talking with Rusted Beetle. I may try and I don't know yet. I may try and make it to Adepticon this year, or not this year, but like 2022, because it's held in March every year. The only caveat is 2022 is a big year for me, because it is Ash and I's 10th anniversary. B, Chloe graduates from high school. So it's going to be a lot of, like, I was talking to Ashley because I told her, I was like, hey, you want to go to Chicago in March? And she was interested because, like, she doesn't care about the convention, so she'll go do whatever. But then it was like, I was like, oh, I don't know if we can. She's like, what, are you backing out now? And I'm like, well, it's just like, don't know what I'm going to need to be paying for because like, what trips and stuff are we going to want to do for our anniversary and stuff? And today I was just like, why don't we just like, I'll just take an extended period of time and we'll just stay in Chicago for the 10-year anniversary and I'll just go to Adepticon. So Rusty Peter said, my wife said, bring your wife to Adepticon. So she looked, I will say, she's like, what is at Adepticon? She asked me. And when I told her, I read off there that was like, oh, it's like miniatures and RPGs and board games and trivia and stuff. And she's like, I mean, I like trivia, but that's about it. So, if I go, I will probably bring her, but she may not be like at the con, but she may be around. So, how long have we been running here? Hey, we've been doing pretty good.
I've been doing pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got the Warhammer bug pretty bad.
I can see.
Ashley's already had I was like, ooh, can I tell you something? She's like, I swear to God, if this is about Warhammer, I'm going to kill you. Because I was telling her all the stuff about last night, plus she's been hearing me talk about it all week. So I've already gotten her to the point where she's sick of me talking about it.
There you go.
But I was playing last night, and one of the guys was like, "Oh yeah, and this is a guy I'd actually played other board games and stuff with before, so I knew the guy, and he was talking to somebody else that was like, "Oh yeah, now that we're all back to playing games, it'd be cool to do like a battle report stream or podcast or blah blah blah," and I was like, "Ahem, excuse me." Because they were talking about oh, we'll have to see if so and so's got this equipment and so and so's got this. I was like, hello, I've got a podcast here. I have equipment here. That game topper is very appropriately sized for Warhammer games.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah. Oh, I mean, there's a couple of things in here.
Oh, why did that?
Rusted Beetle says 3mm, 4mm, and 5mm magnets for building minis. Yeah, I'll have to get different sizes of stuff. I'll have to see what kind of options there are in the Space Marines I'm building to see if I need to be hot swapping weapons. By the way, I will say I was gluing stuff together, specifically my fingers together. I will say I hate the way the Games Workshop does heads on their minis because it's a pain in the butt. Because it's just like a rounded base at the bottom of the head, and then there's one tab. There's a little rectangular tab kind of on the back that's supposed to slot in this big groove on the torso. But it's so small that you have to kind of move it all around, and when you're dealing with super glue and stuff, it's you only got a fraction of time, and then if you mess up, the dude's head's cocked in a weird direction, but yet there was one figure that I've done so far where his head and his arm were attached together as one piece that I was gluing together. That was so much easier to glue together.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, why can't you piece them out like that? And then there was another dude that just had a hole in his torso, and the head had a stick, and it basically just slotted in that way. I'm like, why do these one-off figures have so much better ways of putting this together, but your standard Space Marine has this ridiculous way of putting his head on?
That was with the
I heard plastic glue is terrible for minis.
What's the stuff I still haven't finished building yet?
The Kill Team minis.
Yeah. They had the same thing. It was just this rounded nub that you put the head on.
Yeah.
And then the head could kind of rotate and do whatever, so you had to hold it in place.
I was perusing with my Warhammer obsession. I was perusing the Warhammer Reddit page, and somebody had custom. They had what they call kit bashed, taken a bunch of different poses for hands and fingers, and so they had a Space Marine like this, and with his fingers up to his eyes. And then they painted them in red, white, and blue, and it was done like Sailor Moon. It was fantastic. And then somebody posts on there is isn't the seed for Space Marines generated on the moon base? So technically, aren't all the Space Marines from the moon? And then all the people oh my God. So I'm getting all sorts of things about plastic glue and Tamiya extra thin for most connections of the regular cement. I don't know. I just use the Loctite stuff, and I've had no problems. Like I said, the heads is the only piece I really have problems with. Everything else I usually have just fine. So, Rusted Beetle, what Kill Team box were you putting together? Was it the new? There was a new one that was Space Marines and Necrons. Was it that one? So, oh man, 4th of July. I got those burgers are starting to sit in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was just like, there's at all these sides, and it was just like, well, I could fill up on other stuff, or I really like my in-laws' burgers. I'm going to double up on those.
I can hear. I don't know if it's the official fireworks going off, but I hear fireworks going off outside my
It
window.
is 9:30, and it is dark outside, so probably.
Okay.
But if you're like me, I'm to the point where it's like, I've seen fireworks. They are the same thing every year. I have seen them for, 30 plus years at this point.
Yeah.
I am perfectly fine. So he's saying it's the second version of the core set, the Tau and Space Wolves. Okay. Well, if I go to Adepticon, we may have to play some Kill Team then. If I remember how to play. So that's one thing though. With the Kill Team, you don't get like any of the vehicles and stuff. But once you go to full on 40K, you can start having like the airships and the tanks and all sorts of cool shit. So, Philip, I think that's it for the night.
That does sound like it, sir.
So let's roll that beautiful beam footage.
That's been our show, everyone. Thanks you for hanging out with us on the special 4th of July edition of Boards and Swords. We record roughly mostly every other Sunday. Check out boardsandswords.com/live. It's got the schedule. Also, if you just check out boardsandswords.com, you can find the other shows that we have done in the past. We've got our live play podcast on there. There's probably links to... what else is linked on there, Chris?
YouTube videos are all linked up on there. The blog posts I've done reviewing various things. All sorts of good stuff. So you can email us comments and questions at feedback@boardsandswords.com. We're also on social media. Boards and Swords, Facebook.com/boardsandswordspod is our official Facebook page. I'm also at Boards and Swords on Twitter and at Boards and Swords Chris on Instagram.
You can find me on Twitter as Phil the Dirtbag.
All right, this podcast is also part of Punchboard Media. If you're not a huge Warhammer person or all that, then go also check out their stuff, punchboardmedia.com. Thank you also for listening. Once again, please check out patreon.com/boardsandswords to help support the show. We're literally going to start talking about Loki as soon as I hit the stop streaming thing and put out that bonus bits for people. We'll be back in another 2 weeks, hopefully. This year seems to be like all our episodes have been on holidays. So we've been having to slide them around a little bit, but I think this may be the last one for a while. So I'll be back from vacation by then. So in 2 weeks, hopefully we'll be back with more stuff. In the meantime, remember that every gamer has a story, and mine's going to cost a lot of money. Ashley was already like, no more Warhammer stuff for a while. I'm like, yeah, it's going to take me a while to get through all this stuff painting it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it when it times out pretty well. I'm blabbering there. All right. Thanks, everybody in the chat room. Thank you, Hoser40K, for saying fantastic episode. Appreciate it a lot. Thank you for being here. I was afraid it was just going to be us since it's 4th of July.
Yeah. I flipped over to Twitch Actual, and Moo Jedi, he typed "Who is Arkham?" and like that was a while ago.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
But it didn't pop up in the...
No, I didn't. That's weird. Maybe it did, and I didn't. It got lost, and nope, I don't see it.
Oh yeah, no, because
Weird.
I saw his post on Facebook, but nothing from the Twitch chat. That's odd.
So sorry we didn't see. We legit didn't see that. We're gonna have to have Philip's gonna have to have like the full chat, and then we're gonna have to have like every single chat thing up.
Actually open.
Open instead of the combined chat.
I'll space the windows out so I can just have the chats open.
Yeah, there we go. I also changed it up because I was like, what's the point in having like every, just having my, we'll have the chat on the side and then having me in the tiny window when I can just have me in the full window and then just have the chat kind of scroll on the side.
Yeah, I
there.
saw that. That was kind of neat.
Yeah. So we'll have to do that more in the future. So all right. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.